Idling trains creating loud noise and the health concerns over engine fumes.
Tonight, the I-Team uncovering the problems in one western suburb. Trains sitting for hours and sometimes days. Consumer investigator Jason Knowles tonight getting answers for the residents. Jason.
Cheryl Ravi, those residents knew they moved into homes by train tracks, but what they didn't realize is that the trains would stop and idle sometimes for hours or even days. Homeowners say it's a neighborhood nuisance and they're worried about their health. Train noise and diesel exhaust in the neighborhood.
When you start smelling it, you start tasting it.
Residents, including Clay Hewlin in West Suburban River Forest, are fuming over these Union Pacific operated trains that they say frequently stop on the tracks by their homes. Residents shared several videos, and Chopper 7 also caught a train idling weeks ago. Who here is tired of the noise and the trains idling?
But more importantly is the diesel fumes that are spewing out of the locomotive.
How many people here are worried about their health?
All 100%.
Just recently, we had a 6-day consecutive idling train.
Residents reached out to UP, which said they would try to find a solution, but the trains kept idling.
1 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. We had one sit for 32 hours straight once.
The problem got so bad for Caitlin Hilliard, she and her family recently moved.
We couldn't sleep in our home, and we were getting other respiratory symptoms.
Brian Urbaszewski is the director of environmental health programs for the Respiratory Health Association in the West Loop.
No amount of diesel exhaust pollution is safe. If a train is outside your home for hours and days, you're getting a higher dose of something that's really dangerous to your health.
He points to several studies showing the health risks, including research from the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which classifies diesel engine exhaust as carcinogenic to humans.
A range of dangers, everything from asthma attacks to heart attacks to early death. They include potentially increased risk for Alzheimer's and dementia, as well as things like lung cancer.
And roughly 25% of all of the country's freight trains run through the Chicago area.
The exhaust goes straight up, it blows on the wind, and it falls down in nearby communities.
He and Union Pacific say congestion occurs because Chicago is one of the busiest rail hubs in the nation. UP blames some of the idling on recent weather events nationwide, saying in part, from time to time, congestion on other parts of the network can impact traffic in Chicago. Adding, our goal is always to keep rail cars moving as quickly and safely as possible, as Union Pacific serves a vital part of the supply chain.
The noise at night, people can't sleep.
Residents have called police, who issue tickets for loud and disturbing noise. Under the Freedom of Information Act, the I-Team found that River Forest Police issued 73 of those citations to Union Pacific Railroad for their idling trains. Tickets totaled $2,200 since 2022.
It stopped for a long time. I mean, the trains were only idling maybe for an hour or two. Now they're idling for days.
There is an Illinois law preventing stationary diesel vehicles from idling for more than 10 minutes, but that law only applies to motor vehicles, not trains.
There's no regulatory body that can stop them from doing this.
The Illinois EPA also says state law does not govern diesel emissions from idling trains. However, the U.S. EPA enforces federal rules that require newer trains to have idle emissions controls. Cheryl Ravi, residents in the village have been able to get a state bill introduced that could solve and maybe address this idling issue. We will keep an eye on this bill. We will tell you what happens in the beginning stages right now. But could you imagine living there and the train just sitting there for hours?
Wow. It's an astounding number of trains, too. 25% of all the trains in America?
Yeah, I learned that in this story. The most freight trains in America going through Chicago.
We're in the center of everything.
Yeah, so revealing and eye-opening, and the health concerns really are troubling. All right, thank you so much for that, Jason.
Yes.
Let's talk about something really wonderful.